Hi, thank you for coming to our YouTube channel at Aroma Health Texas. I'm Judy Griffin, and today we're going to look at using substitutes when you're making a blend. And we're also going to learn about saffron, which has been very popular lately. However, it's not easy to get a really good one. So we're going to talk about that because it even comes in capsules now, and I really don't know what's in them. Saffron cannot be distilled easily because it's a bulb. It's the Crocus sativus, and it just has this little hair-like stuff that comes at the top that's red, you know, that you cook with saffron food. That's what we're looking at. And the way to make a saffron, it would have to be an absolute or a CO2 type extraction. So when you've got an absolute, you want to kind of know what the medium is, because a lot of them are using gasoline. That's not very healthy. So saffron, it does have a scent. It has a honey scent, and it's a little bit spicy, and it has its own little light floral top note to it. So it's nice, but it's not overwhelming. It's a middle note. We'll have it in a blend. It's very calming and soothing. It's a natural antioxidant and antimicrobial. It's expensive, and it's hard to find a really good quality one. More recently, it's been used quite a bit as an anti-type depressant, and it's been used like that in India for 5,000 years, but it's becoming popular here. People who have asthma or they have epilepsy, I would caution them, if they're using saffron or something with saffron in it, to do a little patch test, or, you know, try to just use a little bit. I use cardamom as a substitute. We're going to make a blend where we use some of both. Some saffron, it's still expensive even if you're getting the absolute or the CO2. And cardamom is not really expensive, and that's kind of what we're going to do today, is talk about substituting different essential oils, which ones are, you know, similar or best to use. Cardamom has a warming, comforting scent. It's very comforting, and it's great for the tummy. Not to drink, but to, you know, when I make a blend, sometimes I actually put it on my tummy, and I'll tell you why. It's a digestant, and it helps you sleep, and it has the anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, especially bacteria and some fungi, and an antioxidant property to it. But when you think about it, saffron is not a digestant in the way that cardamom is. Cardamom, when you use a digestant type essential oil like that, 90% of your serotonin in your body and your dopamine are made in the gut, and the whole digestive process. This is why in Ayurvedic medicine, they said all illness starts from the stomach, and they always worked on that. And if you don't know this, serotonin is with depression, with moods, with being happy, with restful sleep. Dopamine is for energy. You can't blink your eyes without dopamine being involved with that. So dopamine is the most major neurotransmitter in your brain, and serotonin is coming up right next to it. So that's another reason why I like to use cardamom. So I have a little carrier oil ready here, and I've got my label on it already. It's kind of coming coming off a little bit. And we're going to make a blend using saffron and using cardamom also as a substitute. And then we're going to do that all through the blend. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. We're going to start with a base note of sandalwood and benzoin styrax. They go really well with saffron and some of the other things I'm going to use. Where'd you go? Okay, just need 3 drops. Okay, so we got 3 drops of that. Our base note is going to be 6 drops and an ounce of carrier oil of your choice. Woo, Uncle Lee. And the other one is going to be benzoin styrax. It has a very mild vanilla scent to it. I think it'll smell good. Then the next thing we're going to do is go to our middle note, and that's going to be saffron and cardamom and rose. So there's 15 drops in a heart note, so I'm going to have 4 drops each of saffron and cardamom. Cardamom has a similar scent as saffron, so I like that in substitutions. But I'm going to put some rose in there because it's going to be so good. Rose and sandalwood go well together. Rose and saffron go well together. And rose is expensive. The Absolute or the Otto. Otto means it's been steam distilled. An Absolute, which all your Absolutes have the most compatible or similar scent as the flower that you're using, like rose. Instead of rose, or with rose, we could do rose geranium as a substitute. We can do geranium as a substitute. Pretty easy, okay? So I'm just going to do rose this time. And I'll use 7 drops of that. Because it's going to have kind of a oriental scent to it, you know, like from India or something. I just really like this. And although we normally take 3 weeks, or suggest that, with letting this meld together, if you want to, you could use it a little sooner. I mean, after a week, you're probably going to have a pretty good idea of how it's going to smell. Now we're going to go to the top note, and the top note is normally an aromatherapist would use lemon with this. And the reason I bring it up is because if you look up substitutes for lemon, they always say use lemongrass. Well, it smells the same, but it has totally different effects, lemon and lemongrass. Lemon, you know, it's for focus, it's alertness. Lemongrass is just the opposite. It promotes GABA in the body, which is anti-anxiety, a neurotransmitter, so it's sedating. So when you're making a substitute, don't just think about the smell, make sure that you're not changing the nature of your blend. It may not make any difference to you, but it might if you want this to be smooth and happy and good mood type blend. So we use 9 drops of our high note, or top note, and I'm going to do I'm going to use Lixia, which is Meicheng flower, comes from China. It's lemon flower. It smells wonderful. Oh. And I'm going to use that as a substitute for lemon. And it's gonna work better with, to me, with rose and the kind of smooth.
How many drops?
Well, I only went to 8 drops because I'm going to put a little surprise in there and just a drop of ylang. We could have used ylang, but I really didn't. I didn't want to just have a high, just to be too floral with the saffron and the cardamom. So I'm just going to put 1 drop of ylang in there, and it's going to explode that Litzia. It's going to make it so good. So, oops. That's nice. That's very smooth, very smooth. Now, if you make it and a week or 2 from now you try it and say, well, it could be a little perkier, a little bit more, fragrant, then go to your top note or top notes and add those, a little extra, a few drops of that. And if you ever want to refresh a blend that's been sitting around 6 months or a year, it'll still smell, but you might want to refresh it with like 1 drop of lemon. Okay? Now I'm going to talk about a few other substitutes because it's come up in conversation and text from people and such. And we've talked a lot about cinnamon bark. Cinnamon bark is the most antimicrobial essential oil, period. It's especially bacterial, and also antiviral. And cinnamon bark is the most ancient and first essential oil there ever was, so it's important. But somebody called or texted and said, what do I get, cinnamon bark or cinnamon leaf? Or, well, here's some choices. Cinnamon bark is going to be the strongest one. And when you're working with children or elderly or something like that, or even, for yourself, you might want to go easy on how many drops of that you want to put in a blend, because 15 drops, it's a middle note, in an ounce blend is going to be pretty strong. And so you might want to use some other middle note with it, or you might want to use cinnamon leaf, which is very pleasant, and it's just about as good as cinnamon bark for your medicinal properties, but it's a little bit lighter. Or you could use cassia. I say cassia, it might be cassia, I'm not sure. But it is a different type of a cinnamon type tree. And there's an essential oil in it, and it's to me a little bit lighter. To me it's quite a bit lighter. So a lot of times, especially in an aromatherapy, perfumey type blend, I'll use cassia. Okay, and so another expensive one would be jasmine. And if we're looking for a substitute for that in a blend, the cheapest one would be ylang. And remember, ylang can be a base note, a middle note, or a top note. So you've got a lot of room to work with ylang, and ylang is not that expensive. For a jasmine substitute, if you have gardenia, that would work just fine. But gardenia is, a little expensive too. It'd be nice if you would use a little ylang and a little gardenia together to substitute for jasmine. That would be even more dynamic in your fragrance. And tuberose, which is really hard to find a good tuberose that's not just chemically made. Tuberose, I've never smelled anything better than that. It just opens up, your head, and I'm talking about growing the flowers. To me, they smell so much better than even tuberose itself, which is delightful. But if, tuberose is too expensive or you don't have it, if you have gardenia, that would be a great substitute. Now let's get to the lavender, because people use a lot of lavender. And we've talked about lavender may not be good as far as its estrogenic type properties, for younger kids, for people who might have a possibility or have breast cancer and then get it too. So if you're looking for a substitute, this isn't my favorite, but it's Roman chamomile. Roman chamomile it's not as lovely and pleasant as lavender, but you can use it if you're looking to just substitute. You can use Roman chamomile. Both lavender and Roman chamomile have camozuline in it, and that's the property that it makes them similar. In fact, almost all of the lavender commercially made has this camozuline from Roman chamomile in the lavender it smells good, but they don't use as much lavender flowers then. It's a cheaper way of making lavender essential oil. I don't know. That's not why I would want you to use it, but lavender can also be replaced by green clary sage, and I did say green clary sage because clary sage can smell like old shoes, and it's very strong, but green clary sage is it's fragrant and it's lovely, and it makes it beautiful. It blends. It's one of those essential oils that you can put in many different types of blends, and it goes well. It goes with oriental blends, with floral blends, just all the above. And the green clary sage, or clary sage itself, can also have an estrogenic effect on some people. It's not everybody, but if you don't know if you're one of those people and you want to avoid estrogenic essential oils, clary sage and lavender are both one of those. Then there's neroli. We've used neroli in a lot of blends, and it's wonderful, wonderful. That is made from the flower. It's the distillation of the flower of the orange tree. But it's very expensive, and you can replace it or substitute it with ylang. Ylang is it just fits in so many places. It's a good one to have. And that's the kind of ideas I had this week. If you have questions or comments, I hope you send them to me, call, email, text, whatever you do. And like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week, and give me some ideas of what you're interested in, because I want to make sure I take in all those things as I teach, okay? Bye-bye.